Okay, so last chapter we went over imperative formal. This chapter, chapter 11, we're going to go over imperative informal. Now the verbs that we're looking at, or the conjugations that we're looking at in this chapter, are going to be, for this lesson, strictly affirmative. So in case you've forgotten, imperative informal. You use the to command when speaking with friends, family, people you know well, and children. Now there are two ways to form an informal command, and I'll show you both ways, and then from that point on, you can choose the one that's easiest for you. Both processes will yield the same results. So option number 1 for forming an imperative informal verb. Remember, the only possible subject you can have is tú, because it's an informal command. Now, technically, you could also do a plural vosotros, but to keep it in the simplest form possible, we're just going to focus on the tú command. All right, so one way to form an informal command is to take the verb and to conjugate it in third person singular. So what I've done here is I've conjugated several verbs for you. I think I have about 6 verbs maybe. And so I've gone over all 6 forms of the verb. So if you were going to make an affirmative informal command, then you would go third person singular, like it says here. So if you're making the command, speak Spanish, please, for tú, it would be habla español. If you're telling a person, take notes, toma apuntes. If you're telling a small child, eat your vegetables, come tus vegetales. If you're telling someone, live a good life, vive una vida buena. Return home at 12. Vuelve a casa a medianoche. And last one, drive with caution. Maneja con cuidado. See how easy that was? Super easy. Third person singular. The other possible way that you could think of that is conjugate the verb for second person singular and drop the S. Now let's go look back at those verbs and let's compare. All right, so the difference with thinking about the second person conjugation is that you're actually looking at the to command for each one of them. Or I'm sorry, the to conjugation. So it's yo, tú, él, ella, usted, nosotros, vosotros, ellos, ellas, ustedes. So when you go to the to command, that's another possible way that you could do it. Conjugate for tú, lose the S. Habla. Do you see how this, in comparison to this, yields the exact same results? Marilu, toma apuntes, por favor. Ramiro, come los vegetales. Por favor, vive en Waco. Hijo, vuelve a casa a las 12. Mi hija, maneja con cuidado. See how that worked? And if you compare the two now, it would be the same exact conjugation. You can do whatever you want. So again, informal affirmative command. You can either go third person singular, or you can do conjugate for tú, lose the S. Again, both will yield the exact same results. The other the other thing that you can remember is that these are just for regulars. As always, we have irregular commands. Okay, so these are going to be irregular affirmative commands, and I gave you a list of them. I think there are about 9. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ooh, I lied, there are 8. Okay, so the first verb you have is decir, and then in parentheses I defined each one of these for you, and your command would be di, ir, ve, ser, se. Notice the accent mark over the E on se. Reason for that is because you want to be able to distinguish it from the pronoun. Now, if you remember, se with no accent could be a reflexive pronoun, el muchacho se baña, or it could also be an indirect object pronoun, like yo se lo di a Maria. I gave it to Maria. So you do want an accent mark over the E. For salir would be sal, hacer would be haz, tener ten, venir ven, poner pon. So the easiest way to remember, and there isn't like any kind of step process or anything that you do for these, but they're just memorization. And so it would be like, they're little tiny words, and that's the best way to group them together. Di, ve, se, sal, haz, ten, ven, pon. Pon atención, por favor. Ven aquí. Ten un buen día. Haz tu tarea. Sal de la clase. Sé un niño bueno. Ve a la oficina y di la verdad siempre. Okay, so that's all for today, but let me know if you have any questions or anything. Remember, you can message me through My Big Campus. And the other thing I'm going to do differently this time, I'm going to place this video on mybigcampus.com, but also I'm going to add the document there so that you guys can go ahead and print these notes so that it might be a little bit easier for you if you just have them available for yourself, and then you can add and subtract whatever you want. Okay, that's all, but again, let me know if you have any questions or concerns. Thanks for watching. Bye.